It was a quiet morning at Joe's Diner, the kind of place where regulars knew each other by name and the aroma of sizzling bacon filled the air. 81-year-old veteran, Harold Thompson, sat quietly sipping his coffee, a small American flag pin, glinting on his jacket. Peace, however, was about to shatter. A loud, aggressive biker stormed in, ignoring the soft chatter and the clatter of dishes. Without warning, he slapped Harold across the face, shocking everyone. The diner fell silent. Patrons gasped, and a waitress dropped a tray in disbelief. But this was no ordinary confrontation. Within 22 minutes, the tables turned in a way nobody saw coming. Harold's son, a serving army officer, stormed in, flanked by discipline and authority. In that tense, unforgettable moment, the diner witnessed not just a showdown but a lesson in courage, respect, and the unbreakable bond between father and son. The morning sun streamed through the windows of Joe's Diner, illuminating the checkered floor and the worn booths where locals gathered daily. Harold Thompson, a veteran of 3 wars, sat at his usual spot in the corner. At 81, his body was frail, but his spirit remained unyielding. He had served his country, earning medals and scars that told stories words could never capture. Today, he wanted nothing more than a quiet breakfast, eggs, toast, and black coffee. The bell above the door jingled violently as a loud leather-clad biker barged in. His boots scuffed the floor, and the roar of his motorcycle still seemed to echo in the diner. Patrons turned to watch, sensing trouble. But none could predict what was about to unfold. The biker's eyes locked on Harold. Without any warning, he raised his hand and slapped the elderly veteran across the face. The sound of impact echoed through the diner. Coffee mugs rattled. A waitress screamed, clutching a tray of pancakes, while others froze mid-dash step. Harold, stunned but composed, touched his cheek and looked at the man with calm defiance. "That was unnecessary," he said quietly. The biker laughed harshly. "You think your medals mean anything now, old man?" he sneered. The diner fell into tense silence. Nobody dared intervene. Harold's frail frame seemed defenseless. Yet, there was an unmistakable fire in his eyes, the same fire that had carried him through combat zones and years of military service. Seconds felt like hours. Then, as if summoned by fate, the sound of heavy boots echoed from the entrance. Harold's son, Captain Michael Thompson, entered. He was in full army uniform, the insignia on his chest gleaming, and a presence that radiated authority and discipline. His gaze swept the diner, landing squarely on the biker. "Sir, I suggest you step outside," Michael said, his voice steady but commanding. The biker smirked, underestimating the weight behind the uniform. He moved closer to provoke further, but before he could, 2 more military personnel, off-duty friends of Michael, stood beside him, flanking their position. The diner felt the shift immediately. Patrons watched as tension rippled through the room. The biker, realizing the odds, took a step back. Sweat appeared on his brow as he saw the family bond and military discipline standing unyielding before him. Michael approached calmly, his voice firm. "You just assaulted a veteran. You have 2 choices: leave quietly or face consequences." The biker's bravado faltered. He glanced around and realized the entire diner was watching. The eyes of regulars filled with disapproval, the murmurs of anger and disbelief growing. He knew he was outmatched not just physically, but morally. But with a low grunt, the biker turned and stomped out of the diner, the echo of his boots fading. Silence returned, punctuated only by the soft hum of the coffee machine. Harold, still seated, allowed a small smile to cross his weathered face. "Thanks, son," he said, his voice steady. "I guess some lessons never change." Michael knelt beside his father, placing a gentle hand on his shoulder. "It's about respect, Dad. Nobody gets to disrespect you or what you've stood for." The patrons began clapping, some even standing, honoring both the veteran and the show of discipline his son had brought. The diner had witnessed more than a confrontation. It had witnessed courage, honor, and the strength of family bonds. News spread quickly. The story of the 81-year-old veteran slapped in a diner went viral. Social media posts celebrated not only Harold's bravery but also Michael's swift action. The hashtag veteran respect began trending as people shared the story, emphasizing the importance of honoring those who have served. Harold returned to his breakfast, now with a little more company. Patrons approached to thank him, shake his hand, and express admiration. Michael stayed nearby, ensuring his father's peace. In that ordinary diner, an extraordinary lesson unfolded. Courage is timeless. respect is earned and defended. And the bond between parent and child can change the outcome of even the most tense moments. By the end of the morning, Harold had eaten his breakfast, shared a few laughs, and left the diner with his head held high, supported by his son. The biker's aggression had been transformed into a story of honor, resilience, and unshakable family loyalty. CTA 150 words. This story reminds us that respect and courage are not just taught, they are defended. Harold Thompson, an 81 veteran, showed quiet strength, while his son, Captain Michael Thompson, demonstrated that honor and loyalty can change the outcome of any confrontation. If this story moved you, share it with friends and family to remind them of the power of respect, courage, and family bonds. Take a moment today to honor the veterans around you. Stand up for what is right, and remember that even in ordinary places like a diner, extraordinary acts of bravery and love can unfold. Subscribe for more real-life stories that inspire, honor, and show the unbreakable human spirit in action. Every story teaches a lesson. This one teaches the meaning of respect and family courage.